Sairam students, welcome to the first session of chapter 12, that is the muscular system and digestive system in human beings. So children, can you see this figure? So these are your muscles, right? So children, if we are doing some exercise, like you are lifting the dumbbells in your fist, right? And then you lift this dumbbell upwards, right? So what you can see in the upper arm, you can see a hardness, right? When you lift the dumbbell up, you can see that there is a hardness in your upper arm. So that means it is having a contraction, it gets tightened, right? Now similarly, when you take the dumbbell down, you will see that it's in the relaxed position, right? So that is called as relaxation. So when you take the dumbbells up, the upper arm, it is getting contracted, and when you take the dumbbells down, the muscles, they are relaxing, right? So the hardness which you, or the tightening which you see in the upper arm, that is called as your muscles. So you can see these are called as your muscles. So we'll see now what is the muscle. So the fleshy part, it consists of muscle. So muscles, they contract and relax as the different parts of our body move, right? So as I told you, contract means when we are doing any movement or we are doing any work, there is contraction. And when we are not doing any work, that means that is a relaxation. And muscles, they give our body a specific shape and posture, right? A specific shape and posture is because of the muscles. Muscles are bundles of fibers that can contract and relax as required. So the muscles, what they contain? They contain bundles of fibers. So because of this, the muscles, they can contract and relax whenever required. So what are muscles? The fleshy part, it is called as the muscle, right? And the muscles, they can contract and relax whenever our body parts are moving, right? So when we are doing the movement, that is contraction, and when we are not doing any movement, that is relaxation. Now the muscles, they give our body a specific shape and posture, right? And the muscles, they contain the bundles of fibers, and because of that, they can contract and relax whenever required. Muscles, they are firmly attached to the bones by means of tendons, right? So these muscles, you can see that they are firmly attached to the bones which are inside, right? By means of tendons. Now tendons means it is a strong thin part which is inside our body, and it joins the muscles to the bones, right? So when muscles contract, there is movement at the joint, and the bones move either nearer to or away from each other. So what happens? The muscles, they are firmly attached to the bones by means of tendons. And what is tendons? It is nothing but a strong thin part inside our body which joins the muscles to the bones. So as I told you, there is movement when the muscles contract, and there is relaxation when there is no movement, right? Next we are see here, you can see the figure. Now there is no movement over here, so that means that is the relaxation of muscle. Now here some object is being lifted, right? So there is contraction of the muscle. So the action of muscles, it is necessary for all kinds of movements, from the small movements of the eyelids to those that demand great strength, as when chopping wood with an axe. So muscles, the action of muscles is necessary, right, for doing any kind of movement, whether it may be a small movement of your eyelids or the work which requires greater strength. Like if you are chopping the wood with an axe, you require more strength. So for all these things, muscles is necessary. We use muscles for various movements like talking, laughing, walking, jumping, throwing, etc. So muscles, they are used for various movements. Whatever movements we are doing, for all that muscles require. So what are those? Like talking, laughing, walking, jumping, throwing, etc. Right? So muscle is an important muscles are important for doing any kind of movement, whether it may be a small movement or if it may be a if you require if you want to do work which requires greater strength. So for all these muscles are required, and we use muscles for all the movements whatever we are doing. Now there are two types of muscles. One is voluntary muscle and the other is involuntary muscle. Now voluntary means which can the muscles which requires our permission, right? Without our permission those muscles cannot work out. And involuntary means the muscles which do not require our permission, right? It will carry out its process without our permission, right? So let's see. What are voluntary muscles? Working with our hands, walking, eating, etc. are the functions that depend upon our will, right? So only if we say that I want to work with the hand, I want to walk, I want to eat, so all these functions we are doing because of our will, right? So muscles used in these actions, they are called as voluntary muscles. So the voluntary muscles are those which requires our permission, right? So children, what are voluntary muscles? Voluntary muscles are those muscles which can be used in the actions like working with our hands, walking, eating, right? So all these action, it depends upon our will, right? So that's why it is called as voluntary muscles. And examples are muscles in our arms and legs. So the second type of muscle is involuntary muscles, right? So involuntary muscles involves what? As I had told you that involuntary means it does not depend upon our permission, right? So various processes like breathing, blood circulation, digestion are vital functions, that is they are essential for life, right? So vital means important. So breathing, blood circulation, digestion, these are all important functions of our required for our life, right? So it does not require anybody's permission, it occurs naturally, right? So they do not depend upon our will, it does not require our permission. The muscles of the organs which carry out these involuntary functions are called as involuntary muscles. So whatever organs are there, they carry out these involuntary functions, and that's why they are called as involuntary muscles, right? So what are the examples? Functions of the organs like stomach, intestine, heart are carried out in their own fixed manner by involuntary muscles, right? So they do not require our permission, right? Whatever digestion is taking place in our stomach, heart beats, if it is beating, so all this, it occurs naturally, it does not require anybody's permission, right? So children, in our body there are more than 600 muscles in our human body, right? And it is said that 30 muscles are present on our face, right? On the human face there are 30 muscles present, right? So your eyes, your nose and your mouth, they are covered by the small muscles, right? So your expressions like your happiness, sadness and fear, these are the expressions which occurs because of the muscles which are present on the face, right? So there are about more than 600 muscles in the human body, and as I told you that 30 muscles are present on the human face. So your expressions which are there like sadness, happiness, fear, so all these takes place because of the muscles which are present on the human face. So children, this you can see the figure, muscles in the human body, right? So this is your skeletal muscle, right? The second type of muscle which you can see, heart or cardiac muscle, and this is your smooth muscles, right? So same we will discuss in detail. Then next we are going to see about the types of muscles. So here there are three types of muscles, that is skeletal muscles, heart or cardiac muscles, and smooth muscles. Right, so there are three types of muscles, that is skeletal muscles, heart or cardiac muscles, and smooth muscles. So we are going to see each and every muscle in detail. So let's see about the skeletal muscles. The two ends of each of these muscles, they are attached to two different bones. For example, the muscles of the arms and legs. So we had just seen, children, that these movements, they are voluntary. So they are responsible for holding the bones of the skeleton together and giving shape to our body. So skeletal muscles, what happens? The two ends of the muscles, they are attached to two different bones. So the example is muscles of the arms and legs. And as we know, these movements, they are voluntary. So they are responsible for holding the bones of the skeleton together, and it also gives shape to the body. So let's see about the heart or cardiac muscles. So these muscles, they bring about the contraction and relaxation of the heart. Right, so whatever heartbeats are there, right, so heartbeat is there, then it will stop, again it will start. So this is contraction and relaxation. So the heartbeat, whatever is there, it is involuntary, right, it does not depend upon our will, so it takes place naturally. Right, so these muscles, they cause our heart to relax and contract continuously at a rate of about 70 times per minute. So in 1 minute, how many times it has? 70 times. So it contracts and relaxes. So it is happening continuously, right? So your heart or cardiac muscles, it brings about the contraction and relaxation of the heart, and these movements, they are involuntary. And how the contraction and relaxation, it occurs continuously at a rate of about 70 times per minute. Next is the smooth muscles. So smooth muscles, they are present in the internal organs other than the heart. Right, so these movements, they are involuntary and they are slow. Right, so the smooth muscles also, it does not depend upon our will. For example, the muscles of the stomach, intestine, blood vessels, uterus, etc. So various vital functions of our body, of which we remain quite unaware, are carried out by these special muscles. Right, so what are these smooth muscles? These are present inside they are present in the internal organs, which other than the heart. So these movements, they are involuntary and they are slow. So examples are your muscles of the stomach, intestine, blood vessels, uterus, etc. So these are the important functions of our body, which we are not aware of it, right? And these functions, they are carried out because of these special muscles. So this was what there in today's session, children. So now let's recap what we have learnt in today's session. So children, first I gave you the example that if you take a dumbbell in your hand or in your fist, what happens? When you take the dumbbell upwards, there is a hardness or tightening in your upper arm, and that is called as a contraction. Now when you take the dumbbell down, what happens? The muscles, it's in a relaxation position, right? So whatever movements you are doing, that is because of the muscles, right? And the muscles, they also give shape to our body, right? So after that, children, we saw that the muscles, they are nothing but they are bundles of fibers that are attached to the tendons. And I told you tendons means it is a strong thin part inside our body, which is that joins the muscle to the bone, right? After that, children, we saw about the two types of muscles, that is the voluntary muscles and the involuntary muscles, right? Then what are voluntary muscles? The muscles which require which requires our permission, that is, it depends upon our will, those are called as voluntary muscles, like your muscles of the arms and legs, right? Then what are involuntary muscles? Muscles which do not require our permission, right? It happens naturally in our body, so those are called as involuntary muscles, like your heartbeat, blood circulation, breathing, all these things, right? Then we saw, children, about the types of muscles. So there are 3 types of muscles: skeletal muscles, heart or cardiac muscles, and smooth muscles. So skeletal muscles means the examples were of the muscles of arms and legs, and these movements, they are voluntary, right? Then we saw about the heart or cardiac muscles. So these muscles, they help in the contraction and relaxation of the heart, right? So the heart beats, it contracts, and this contraction and relaxation, it is continuously, right, at the rate of 70 times per minute. And this heart or cardiac muscle movements, they are involuntary. And the last one we saw about the smooth muscles. So smooth muscles, what happens? The organs which are present in the inside our body other than the heart, those are called as the smooth muscles. So these movements, they are involuntary and they are slow, like your blood vessels, uterus, stomach, intestine, right? So these are the important functions of our body which are carried out by these special muscles. So in the next session, children, we'll see more about the about our internal system, right? Till then, goodbye.